Guys, what double standards today infuriate you the most? Story 1. That mom is the go-to parent. I do all of my kids' doctor stuff and am registered as the primary phone runners, yet the pediatrician will only call her or ask for her or email only her the info. I also do all their trips out, playground time, etc. And got a, "Is today daddy day? Mom getting a break?" comment. I replied, "Every day is daddy day," and they kind of melted away from the implied glaring. Story 2. I was sexually assaulted in a bar by a woman twice my age, and everyone expected me to just tolerate it. I was walking through the bar when a woman I didn't know, and twice my age, stood in front of me, grabbed my balls firmly and didn't let go. She held me in place by holding my balls. She stared me dead in the face. I said, "Whoa," and she said, "Oh, shut up. You're supposed to enjoy this." People thought it was funny. I stood there awkwardly and didn't know WTF to do. She was in her late 50s, I was in my late 20s. All I could think to do was say, "I don't know you," to which she responded with an eye roll and an angry grunt. I left the bar. I went to have coffee with my mom the next day, and I told her, and my mom was pissed. Not pissed, but pithed. I kind of feel like my mom would have slapped the lady. If the roles were reversed and a man had done that to a woman, he would be labeled a sex offender. Someone replied, "I was coerced, guilt-tripped into having sex by a former friend of mine from my old friend group." For context, she knew that I had a huge crush on her, and after rejecting me a long time ago, she kept on flirting with me, leading me on. We were hanging out and she kept on making sexual advances towards me. Kept on being pushy about it, saying she wanted to try it while grinding herself on my knee. I told her no multiple times and she kept on persisting, and then I unfortunately gave in. I asked her, "Are you sure?" To which she responded in an enthusiastic yes. We did some stuff and didn't go all the way, and she gave me instructions on what she wanted and asking for consent all the way through each act. But some things she said during the entire thing were kind of manipulative. She said, "I knew you've been wanting to do this for a long time now. There were other times where you could have fucked me." By the end of it all, she said, she was glad I asked her for consent. We flirted the day afterward, and then she was beating herself up by calling herself a piece of trash and told me I was being too nice for my own good, and that she took advantage of my feelings for her just to try something she knew she'd regret. But that's not the kicker. She then goes on to tell my friend group that I sexually assaulted her, and they all took her side. Even though I have literal evidence on my phone of her saying those things and showed it to them. Now I'm currently in therapy and I have depression, anxiety, and potentially PTSD, and have no friends anymore. I even lost weight and have been experiencing panic attacks. I've never felt so alone, betrayed, and emotionally hurt in my life. Story 3. When young boys are sexually abused by an older woman, it's looked at as a good thing and that the boy enjoyed it. Story 4. Women are given free passes when they are violent. Story 5. Can't say anything negative about women that are the size of an NFL defensive tackle, but men who are 5'8" or under are fair game. Someone replied, "Some women also preach things like, 'Any weight is healthy,' and scoff at men who are overweight or underweight." Story 6. I don't want to post links to avoid supporting them with traffic. Several news outlets reporting on the Olympic opening ceremonies focused on sexualizing the bodies of the male athletes, while simultaneously condemning objectification of the female athletes. You have to pick one. Objectification is either okay or bad, can't be both and only dependent on the gender of the recipient. Doesn't need to be said, but BuzzFeed seemed to again be the worst offender. Story 7. Family Court, King of Double Standards. Someone replied, "We hereby sentence Mr. Alex Grisham to 60 years in prison with no parole for killing his children out of boredom." Your Honor, Alex Grisham is a woman. That's the mother. The father is Greg Grisham, the devastated man crying right over there. Oh, well, in that case, Mrs. Grisham is sentenced to 18 months in prison and 2 minutes of community service. Custody of the remaining unmurdered child will go to Mrs. Grisham after she is released. We will issue a restraining order from the father just to be safe. I'm exaggerating, but not even by that much, and it's fucking depressing. Story 8. Women, don't message me if you're under 6 feet. Totally acceptable. Men, don't message me if you're over 200 pounds. You're literally Hitler. I'm 5'8", and I don't begrudge women for their preferences. They can want tall guys, I'm cool with that. In real life, my height honestly has never been an issue. But likewise, I will not date or fuck a fat chick. That's my preference, and I'm just as entitled to it. And no amount of shaming or frothing at the mouth is gonna change it. Story 9, putting the toilet seat down. I got into an argument with a feminist that wants everything to be equal, which for the record, I fully agree with and want also. I didn't put the toilet seat down at work, and she flipped out on me on how she has to touch it to put it down. I simply reminded her how she wants everything equal. And if I have to pick the seat up, not knowing what's underneath it, she can put it down, and I walked away. She was not happy I threw that in her face. Story 10, that men can't be traumatized by sexual abuse the same way women can. I had a woman be rough with me in the sheets once, and I told her to stop because I didn't like it. She didn't stop. Told Ali straight to my face that she would make me like it. I kind of just laid there, and eventually she stopped because she was too drunk. IDK? Anyways, last I checked, she's thriving and very sexually open. I'm still so embarrassed by that encounter that I don't feel comfortable even hugging a woman besides my wife. It makes me really angry to see her so openly affectionate with people, and I can barely enjoy a hug. I had a female co-worker shove my face between her tits. Also made me extremely uncomfortable. I've tried to bring up my experiences, and I can tell a lot of people don't take me seriously. I guess because I'm a man and I must have enjoyed it? Story 11. When women want equal rights, but as soon as it's no longer beneficial, expect tailor-made rules for them, i.e. armed force entry to special branches, Ranger, SEAL, Beret, equal pay for labor they cannot do. So they are placed on lightweight duties and still get the same pay. Expecting to hit someone and abuse them and not be hit back. I'm all for equality, but there are things that either sex will never be able to contend with the other on, and that's okay. But the unrealistic delusions by adding different guides for both sides that try and make up for the lack of ability need to go. Also, the fact that women usually gain custody of the kids when breakups happen without contention. That even after said woman has 4 kids from 3 fathers, she still gets $600 plus a month from each father as child support, and that it's never investigated where that money is going. Story 12. I have been on 10 plus dinner dates in the last 6 or so months. With the exception of one woman, rest of the women never offered to pay or split the bill. They expected me to take care of it as a given. I'm financially okay and have no problems footing the bill, but it's the principle and double standard of the matter. Dating is a vested interest for both, not just the man. And by the way, the one who offered, I thanked her for her thoughtfulness and took care of the bill. Story 13, body positivity. Our society is currently bending over backwards to make women of all shapes and sizes feel good and beautiful because that matters apparently. Yet it apparently stops mattering for men and boys. Penis shaming is fine, height shaming is fine, even masculinity shaming is still fine. Calling in question whether you're a real man because you do X. Men doing it is one thing, but it's 1,000 times worse when done by women, as it's just so sexist. Marvel, for example, men get hired as heroes and immediately get jacked and have shirtless shots in the movies. I mean, how is that not harmful? Also, another double standard is women being allowed to feel and be entitled. Entitled to man's time, money, ECT. A man couldn't dream of having such an entitlement, nor would it ever be socially acceptable or attractive. I believe in equality, and for me that concept is exciting. However, in the last few years, it appears as we're moving further and further away from it, and the driving force of that inequality is Western millennial women, which is just bizarre to me. Story 14. A month or so ago, I went on a camping trip with my family and a few other family friends. The campground was next to a creek. On the second day of the trip, we all went down to the creek to swim. I've been working out for the past few months, so I'm in decent shape. When I took off my shirt, one of the mothers from another family oohed and ahed and commented on how good I looked. My mother chimed in, agreeing with her. My mother is in her 60s. The family friend is in her 50s. I am 18. Can you fucking imagine this situation with the gender reversed? That's fucking disgusting. My father later told me that he had showed photos from the trip to some coworkers. Said coworkers were in their 30s. My father told me they made similar comments about my body. What would this look like if 30-year-old men were making such comments on photos of an 18-year-old girl? A bunch of creeps, that's what. Story 15, that men are allowed to be generalized due to the harmful behaviors of others before us and around us. And we are the only ones where it's considered socially acceptable to do so. You literally generalize any other group of people based on factors that they can or can't control. Even if they have a discomforting amount of toxicity within their ranks, you are considered a bigot. Some things that I do agree with, that yes, men are the reason why we, as men, are fucked up. Men have done some truly atrocious things in the past, but because of this, we are not allowed to defend ourselves against generalization without being accused of having a fragile male ego. No, sorry, that's a cop-out. Me not wanting to be lumped in with the scum of the earth has nothing to do with me having a fragile ego. But the problem is, the generalization goes free. Yet if men say anything about anyone else, or shit, God forbid we try to break something down or explain something, we get accused of being condescending. Guys, what the fuck? Are we even allowed to really be alive anymore? Are we allowed to talk? Are we not allowed to complain about life? I'm not going to deny that we, as men, do benefit from societal structure, but other people simply do not understand that. That doesn't mean we automatically have easy lives. I'm not proclaiming to be a good man or anything like that. I don't want a medal, I just want to not be discriminated against just because it was pure chance that somewhere in the womb, I became what I am instead of remaining a woman. As someone who already has a litany of mental health issues, brought on by a woman no less, the one who was supposed to raise me, I'm just not sure that we as men get a fair shake. We're fucked up by the men who taught us to conceal our emotions. We get told to let our emotions out and express them. We do, and then what? We get ghosted, get told to man up by women, and our issues are basically masked or shut under the rug because other people have it worse than us. No, we get sexually abused too, we get beaten too, and everything that I've seen in the last few years has even made it clear that we are not free from discrimination. It doesn't have to be systemic oppression to make someone feel like shit, and systemic oppression is not the only thing that matters. Everyone else, enjoy your lower suicide rates and bring on the downvotes. We're stuck between men teaching boys toxic behaviors and everyone else who doesn't give a fuck about our issues, who are content with only placing the blame on our fathers, uncles, and everyone before them, and then not doing shit to actually help. The most they can muster is, well, a tar feminist. Nah, get out of here with that shit. Want to use that same logic? A real man wouldn't do what you generalize all of us for. If we can't use that logic to shut ourselves from the more toxic aspects of men, you can't just ignore the toxicity in your own movement. No true Scotsman, look it up. Story 16, who gets custody, alimony, woman can hit men and nothing happened to them. You can make all the money in the world, but if she can spend it faster, it's the man's fault for not having a good enough job. Story 17, that men and women can't be just friends. Story 18, that I'm expected to feel bad a dredge on society if I collect any sort of social benefits, when billionaires are literally paying nothing in taxes. If they can get a break, surely I deserve a much larger one. Story 19, having women think something is wrong with you if you aren't in the mood for sex. If women do that, it's perfectly fine. But if men do it, they're in the closet or cheating. Sometimes guys are just tired and have too much on their mind. Someone replied, this is also because of deep insecurities in women. We are taught from a shockingly young age that men want sex all the time. If they don't want to have sex with you, there is something horribly wrong. Either it's, like you mentioned, cheating or in the closet, or, and this is what I've seen the most, you are found unattractive in some way. This is why generally women tend to take it very personal when they are turned down for sex. I've been working for years to get these ideas out of my head, and I still have a little trouble when my BF turns me down. It's just so ingrained. Just another example of the media teaching young people the wrong things and everyone suffering for it. Story 20. I remember seeing an article saying that about 90 people died during an accident. 13 were women. am like, yes, the others aren't important. They aren't worthy of mention. If you like stories like these, please make sure to like and subscribe for more. If you have any opinions on these stories, let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you all enjoyed today's story time, and I hope to hear from you all soon.